Right, so it was decided actually in Egypt in 2018 that they would return these two islands, Tiran and Sanafir, back to the Saudis. They were given, as you mentioned, to Egypt in the 50s. Now, why is Israel involved in this? Because those two islands have strategic importance to the Red Sea inlet that is responsible for the port of Aqaba, Eilat. In the past, these two islands have even sparked wars in the region. It kind of feels like we're going back to the 60s in terms of talking about these two islands. But as far as the peace agreement between Israel and Egypt is concerned, Israel needs to give its go-ahead or the green light for any transfer, any change of status of these two islands. And Israel has its general acceptance of this move, but it definitely wants to see one of the key issues is the international peacekeeping presence on that island. That's something that the Saudis want to stop. It's basically on that issue that these talks aren't moving forward or nothing is finalized yet. But the fact that all this is coming out prior to U.S. President Joe Biden's visit to the region, ahead of an expected meeting with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, after years of really bad relations between Washington and Riyadh. We're seeing that this triangle, Washington, Jerusalem, Riyadh, there's a lot of movement and shaking in that triangle ahead of this meeting. And the transfer of the two islands, is just one of those topics that are being raised ahead of this very big and important visit, I should say, for all sides involved.
Right, and of course, you mentioned the strategic importance when the Straits of Tiran were closed back in the 1960s. That was one of the things that sparked the war. Israel called it an act of war, closing the shipping lane there to Eilat in the southern Red Sea. And of course, the Egyptians also have port cities there in the Red Sea. The Saudis have Neom, the city that they're building there. So there's a lot of strategic interest there, and certainly we'll continue to follow that. Ariel Oseran, Middle East correspondent, thank you very much for